Breaking news, Habs Nation. In a perfect world, Montreal Canadiens general manager Kent Hughes would be able to trade Josh Anderson in the 3 seasons he has left at $5.5 million per, after having acquired Patrick Lane. However, even as Hughes has made great strides realizing his own offensively inclined perfect world that he envisioned upon getting hired, hiccups remain. Lane versus Anderson. For example, Anderson, who would have had a good chance of playing on the Canadiens' second line had Lane not been acquired, would only have been deployed there to salvage something out of his deal. After an underwhelming 9-goal, 20-point season, playing Anderson with center Kirby Dach, who has shown a capacity to make his line mates better, made sense. However, Lane is now in the picture. Considering his skill set, it's hard to envision the offense-first Finn anywhere else but at the top of the lineup, with the first line of Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Juraj Slafkovsky all but confirmed officially. So, there's really no room for Anderson, unless the Canadiens are resigned to handicapping themselves from a cap management standpoint and playing a forward with a $5.5 million cap hit in a bottom-6 role, with low offensive expectations. Unfortunately, all 31 other GMs have eyes. They see Anderson has been struggling. They're unlikely to take on a costly player with such limited dimensions to his offensive game. Sure, if you see defenseman Jordan Harris, who went back to the Columbus Blue Jackets, as the compensation for Lane, they effectively paid the Canadiens a second-round pick to take on the question mark of a forward who has an $8.7 million hit. So, in theory, it is possible. However, Lane and Anderson are apples and orange. The 26-year-old Lane has the capacity to score a point per game. Anderson, at age 30, has never scored more than 32 points with the Habs. Translation: no one's taking him. And if no one's taking Anderson, Hughes' focus must shift elsewhere. Because, ultimately, the Canadiens just added one more forward to an already jam-packed situation up front. It isn't even the $8.7 million hit that should be the main concern. As Habs beat writer Marco D'Amico noted, they have ways to address that, ahead of goalie Carey Price going on long-term injured reserve to start the season, thus taking his $10.5 million hit out of the equation. Dock between Lane and who? As alluded to, it's more so the one less available roster spot up front that Lane represents. Looking at it another way, Lane affords the Canadiens the opportunity to spread the offensive wealth across the lineup to a greater extent. Assuming you're not going to put all your big-bodied eggs in one basket either by playing Anderson, 6'3", 224 pounds, with Lane, 6'5", 215, and Dach, 6'4", 217. That leaves the Habs with 2 realistic alternatives, Alex Newhook and Joshua Roy. Putting Newhook at center, where he filled in admirably for an injured Dach last season, on the third line would be one way to spread that aforementioned offensive wealth. Putting Roy on that second line with Dach and Lane would be a way to meanwhile put the prospect in the best position to succeed, with his defensive positioning, skill in transition, great vision, and nose for the net, per Montreal Hockey Now's Mark Dumont. His and Dach's defensive capabilities should also help offset Lane's offense-only leanings very well, putting Lane in the best position to succeed himself. This just might work rather perfectly. Unfortunately, there is a cog in this plan by the name of Christian Dvorak. Lane exacerbates the Dvorak conundrum Hughes faces, whereby injuries, including to the center in question, have forced the Canadiens to look for redundancies down the middle. The end result is there's no longer a place for Dvorak himself in the lineup if everyone else is healthy.